Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So you're thinking about buying a boat in Mexico. Good idea. I've been through 4 purchases and 3 sales of boats over the last 15 years. I'm just going through my latest purchase, so if you want some first-hand experience of what the process is, why do this, then please watch the video. There'll be some good insights into how it's done and achieve a smooth outcome. So first off, why would you want to buy a boat in Mexico? One of the main reasons is the cost. Undoubtedly boats are cheaper to buy in Mexico. You save on state taxes, so if you're in a high state tax situation in the US where you buy a boat in Mexico, there is no tax. Legally, boats aren't allowed to be sold, but to overcome this, the actual financial transfer takes place in the US, so you can actually legally do this. The financial transaction is handled by a US titling agent. There are several of those. Mainly these people deal with the transfer of large ships and so forth, but they do cater for yachts. As I say, I've been through the process many times now, and I've just about completed the purchase on my new boat, or new to me boat, and I'll fly to Mexico in the next couple of weeks to get on board. So cost-wise, one of the major benefits in buying a boat in Mexico is that, particularly if it's a cruising boat, is that it's probably very well equipped compared to boats that you're going to get to see in the US. Don't underestimate the cost of actually equipping a boat for cruising. It can be significant. Most of the boats you'll find in Mexico, all of this has been done. The previous owners have equipped it for cruising, and you can save a substantial amount of money in getting a boat ready to be able to live on and to be able to cruise. So where are those additions? What do they put on that you'll probably need, and the areas where you can save money? If you start at the front of the boat, one of the major things is the anchoring system. Most of the boats down there will have an oversized anchor. You walk down any marina and you'll see pretty substantial anchors, mainly Rockners. They seem to be incredibly popular for cruising boats, and there are some alternatives, but I would say 50% of the boats that I've seen down there all use a Rockner anchor. They will also come with a substantial amount of chain, probably between 200 and 300 feet. In most cases, you're probably only going to need generally 100, 150 feet for most of the anchorages down there. What it will also come with is a life raft. These can be an expensive purchase. Many of them may be out of survey, out of date, but I mean that's the risk that you take. You can have them resurveyed at a cost if you wish. I've never bothered. I've never actually had to test one, so you know, my gamble has paid off so far. The other areas that you'll find boats are well equipped is they're probably going to come with a water maker, which is something that you'll need if you're going to do any extended cruising. A lot of boats come with Honda 2000i generators to use when topping up the battery. I've used them in the past for other reasons. I set up a fairly cheap hooker system so I could clean the bottom of the boat. All you need is the Honda generator, add a small compressor for a couple of $100 and 50 feet of high pressure hose and a second stage regulator. You can set up a hooker system for if the boat's got obviously a generator for less than a couple of $100. And I've found that invaluable, because if you get something stuck on the prop, you can dive over the side and stay down as long as you like to clear the rope or fishing line or whatever's there. They also tend to come with fairly good solar systems. So generally either mounted on an arch on the back, or soft panels on the bimini and so forth. That can add quite considerable expense if you've got to put that on yourself. Because you're cruising, a dinghy is going to be important. Most of the yachts down there have a reasonable sized outboard engine between 8 and 15 horsepower. The favourite engines are the Yamaha two-strokes. It may well have dinghy wheels, which are useful on the mainland, not so much use in the Baja, Sea Cortez, because the anchorages are pretty well protected. But on the mainland side, you do get some surf breaks to go into. The dinghy may also well have chaps, covers for the dinghy to protect them from UV damage. All of these are made to measure, most of them done locally. The other side of it is the spares on board. Generally, most boats will have a spare alternator, spare starter motor, and spare water pumps, along with a range of other items that you may or may not need. I've always found that most owners get off the boat and leave everything on board. I've always travelled from overseas to get to Mexico to take ownership of a new boat, and can't carry much with me. And I found the boats to be extremely well prepared and equipped. And also all the teething problems with new equipment have been ironed out. You may at some stage have to replace some of the equipment, but generally most of it's up to date. You may find there's a HF radio on board, less popular these days, but if it's there, it's a great thing to to have aboard. Other than that, just the general stuff like dock lines and dinghy anchors and all the ancillaries that you're going to need are generally on board. A lot of people use separate refrigerations. The Dometic standalone freezers seem to be very popular. So when you're looking at these boats, just look through the equipment list. They'll have multiple anchoring systems, lots and lots of sheets and ropes, and basically everything that you need. So, once you've found a boat that's equipped to the standard that you want, is in the condition you want, then the next thing is to go down and see it. Fairly straightforward if you're from the US, less so for me because I've always travelled from overseas. But if you have to travel around the various marinas where most of the brokers are, I once did a trip, flew into Hermosillo and went to San Carlos, looked at some boats there, nothing to my liking. So I called a coach to Mazatlan, had a look at the boat there, then took another boat down to Puerto Vallarta, looked at some boats there, went back to Mazatlan, and then crossed over on the car ferry to La Paz, where I eventually bought a boat. So it's fairly easy to get around if you don't drive down from the US. But then once you've found something, then the process of actually purchase starts. It is pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. Most of the brokers that I've dealt with come across as being pretty honest, pretty reliable. They've been through the process many times, so they know how it occurs, how long it takes, and so forth. So once you've made an offer, on a boat that you like. Generally you'd pay a 10% deposit, and this is paid to a titling agent in the US who hold it in a trust. There are 2 or 3 of these that are generally used by the brokers. So the money sits there. You then go through the next process, which is a survey. If you are going to have a survey, that can be a boat survey, it can be a rigging survey, it can be an engine survey. I must admit, over the times that I've bought boats there, I've not gone down the survey route. Being fortunate enough to know some trusted people there that have looked at boats for me and said yes or no, basically. If you're going to fully insure the boat, you're going to need a boat survey. I've never done this in the past because as a single-hander, boat insurance tends to be, or fully comprehensive boat insurance tends to be too expensive for me. So I just generally go with the legal requirement of having Mexican liability insurance, which all the marinas require when you check in. That's only a couple of $100, $200, $250 a year. But, you know, you're probably going to go ahead with the full survey if you're going to finance the boat or whatever. There are so many get-out clauses that these surveyors have that the survey is only really peace of mind and something you need for insurance purposes as far as, you know, I've been concerned. So you've gone through the survey, it's passed, you like the results of it. You then want to do a sea trial, so you may have to visit again. You may be able to do this on your initial visit, depends on the owner. So the sea trial is completed, and again everything's tested out and works fine. So you get to final acceptance on the documentation. Once that's been signed, then you transfer the balance of the money to the titling agent. The titling agent then cancels the registration of the boat, which could be US, it could be overseas, and starts the process of re-registering the boat with the Coast Guard in your name if you're in the US. The current owner of the boat then has to cancel the temporary import permit from Mexico, known as a TIP. There have been some changes over the years on how this is actually done. I've done it myself on previous occasions, but a law change some years ago meant the boat has to actually be an offshore transaction, which means you have to take the boat 60 miles offshore out of Mexican international waters, take a photo of the navigation and the GPS reading, and use that as part of your proof that it was done offshore. There are ways around that where you don't have to do that, and if you are interested in finding out more information on how that happens, it comes with a cost, probably around $500. And there are agents that can actually achieve that for you. You still have to take the boat out of the marina to achieve this, but you can actually put it into a different marina, or if you're down there you can put it on anchor and then come back once the process has been completed. Once the new tip is issued, and that's valid for 10 years, so you're virtually through most of the process of buying the boat and having the correct documentation. They also do, the titling agents also do credit checks to make sure there's no outstanding finance, it comes with clear title, and so forth. So relatively straightforward. It can take a month, sometimes 6 weeks to get this process through. But as I say, it's something that's everybody's used to doing. That buys a boat down there, and it's pretty pain-free. There's a number of documents you've got to sign, and you end up with then the boat in your title of the boat registered in your name, with the bill of sale and all the normal stuff that happens when you buy something. So then you've got, now the boat has been transferred to you. There's a handover with the owner, where the owner will meet you on the boat and take you through the systems, show how everything works and so forth. I've not been able to do that when I've taken over boats, because I've obviously been overseas during the process, and a couple of the owners that I've previously bought from have written pretty comprehensive instructions and on all the idiosyncrasies of the systems on the boat. So that's never caused me a problem. The boats that I've sold, having bought 4 there and then sold 3, I've done the same with people that have bought from me, giving them an extensive handover, or if I'm not able to be there, to do an extensive written down instruction list on how to operate things. And I still get questions sometimes over boats that I've previously sold, where the new owner is, wants some advice on something, or can't find something, or doesn't know where it is, and I've helped out in that instance. But all I can say is that buying a boat in Mexico, good idea. You end up with a good fully equipped vessel. You don't have to then sail down there if you intend to cruise in Mexico. The boat's already there. Most owners basically take off their personal items and leave the rest. So I've been surprised when I've gone aboard and turned out all the lockers and cupboards and and discovered what's there and gone, wow, this is really good. And I hope that a boat, if you do buy one, you'll end up with the same feeling of you got a good deal. And I've always done that in the past. As far as selling boats there are concerned, I found it doesn't take long. The boats that I've bought and sold, as circumstances have changed, have generally gone within a couple of weeks, which is fantastic. It's something that there always seems to be a requirement. People wanting to cruise, and rather than having to equip a boat in the US and then sail it down to Mexico, buying one down there makes an awful lot of sense. So I wish you luck in your purchase if you're seriously thinking of it. If you want to raise any questions or comments, please contact me. I can give you some first-hand instances or information that I've come across in the past or used. And I'm also going to be doing some other videos on things like questions over medical. What happens if something goes wrong when you're in Mexico? And again, this will be from first-hand experience, because I've had a few medical mishaps down there. One being a heart attack, and the other being suffering from or being diagnosed with pleurisy. And all I can say is the medical side of my experience in Mexico has been superb. It's as good as I could get anywhere else. So if you like the video, if it's been helpful, please subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want notification of when the next video comes out, hit the notification button, and you'll get informed when I post another video. I intend to put a series of videos on about the marinas, using aerial photography, drones, so that people can see entrances to marinas. I'll go through the boat when I get it. It's a Catalina 42 Mark II, which I've just bought. And then following on from that, videos of all the cruising grounds and spending summer in the Northern Sea during hurricane season next year. So anyway, thanks for taking the time to watch. I hope you found it helpful, and good luck with your purchase. Thank you.